Hello my crafty friends, Corrine here from Corrine Crafts. I want to show you this fairly clean and simple card that I am going to show you how to make today. Really simple. We can substitute the numbers for letters, for initials if you want to, and I'm just going to use my Julie Hickey flowers just to create that beautiful look on here. A few splats, a few gems. I love the gold coming out from behind the numbers, really makes them pop. Really simple card to make, and I'm going to show you now how it's done. So the project I'm going to make today is virgin on clean and simple, but I just wanted to do something really pretty that could be adapted really easily for whatever you've got. So I found out my Julie Hickey Designs Fresh Floral stamps set. Now I will be using one of the stamps and dies from the floral fancies as well. So this is Fresh Floral stamp set, sorry, and this is the floral fancies. So yeah, I will use one of those, but most of it will come from here, and I love that you get the little dies to go with it. But we'll put those to one side for a minute because I'm just going to make the background. So my top piece card is 4.5 by 6 inches, and it's what I'm going to do is really simple. Just rub that off, and all I'm going to do to this is I'm going to just do a little bit of splats to this. So you'll see my ink pads out, my ink blocks out a bit. I'm going to use my shimmering watercolours. Now this one is Moonbeam. So Moonbeam was designed to use on black and white cardstock, and I'm just going to use the gold seam. So this is my splatter box, or paint station, or whatever you want to call it, and I'm just going to put that in there so you can see it. So I'm going to take this, and I'm actually going to do most of this today with a sparkle pen. I know this is sparkle and this sparkle, but I just want plenty of sparkle, and all I'm going to do is just put a little bit of sparkle pen onto there, mix it round just to create a lovely, you can see, look, liquid paint. Look at that, you can see it shimmering. So it's just picked it up on the end of my brush. Now I'm going to work, all my detail is going to be down in this bottom right hand corner. So I'm just going to do my splats from sort of splaying out, if I can get my words out, splaying out from the right. And you can put as much or as little. I really don't want to put too much on. Now I'm also going to be using quite a bit of pink, so you could go in with pink as well. Now all I've just done to my sparkle brush is just dip that in some water and it's done. Now that is all I'm going to do to that background. So I can get rid of my paint station, put that back away, and that's all I'm going to do is just that little hint of gold. Like I said, I could have put some pink on, but I'm just going to leave it at that. So I'm just going to leave that to dry, and then I'm going to make my flowers. So these are really simple. So back in my scrap box, a little offcut of watercolour card, and I'm just going to pick out a couple of those stamps that I showed you. Oops, I dropped them. There we go. So let's just pick out a couple of these and put them on a rocker block. I can do more than one at once. Just remembering these are going to be die cut, so just make sure you leave enough space in between to die cut them. So I'm going to use my waterproof ink pad because we're going to go in with watercolours, and all I need to do is ink those up and then get my corner of my cardstock and just rock. And I've got my beautiful images. Now you can create as many of these as you want. I can then, when I was doing this, I did foliage and the flowers, and I just did the whole scrap piece of card. So all I would do then is find the die. So this one goes on here. You just have to twizzle until you get it the right way round. Twizzle. There must be a way. There must be a way to recognise which way. It's not quite right. I think I'm nearly there. That one looks good to go. So a little tiny piece of tape, and that'll hold that. I don't think that is right, Try one more twizzle. That looks much better. Because these are all hand drawn, they're not necessarily perfectly symmetrical, are they? So, and I love that, the fact that they are hand drawn. It's when I've done flowers for signature collections, done exactly the same. Hand draw them, they are just so much nicer. That one goes there. And then the final little one goes. And then all I need to do is get my small die cutting machine and my plates, and I can run that through. So we're going to keep it, like I say, nice and clean and simple, or fairly clean and simple, or as clean and simple as Corrine does. And then we're just going to make it really pretty. Now I'm going to make this an 18th birthday card. I don't actually have anybody wanting an 18th birthday card, but I needed to pick a number. So there we go. Look at those. They just pop out of there perfectly. Now, one thing I do like to do with these is absolutely beautifully die cut, but when I do shaping, that to me is perfect if you're going to do it flat. So what I tend to do is just cut down. And what I do is I come round like, it would help if I could do it. Now I'm right-handed, so I find I do the right-hand side ones this way up, just like this. And then, have I done all of them? Yeah, I turn it over and I do the other ones on that way. Just because I'm naturally right-handed and I get a better curve by doing it this way. I just think the finished result is better. Now you can do this before you paint or after you paint, and you can see. You seem to get an eye into how much space you've got, and you can see that's cut perfectly. Now these ones are just so small, I'm just going to just cut down on the line. If you want to add a little bit of extra shaping, go for it, but they will look absolutely perfect. We're only going to be using a couple of these anyway, so, you know, let's just not get too hung up about it. I nearly went too far on that one. And the same on this one. If you want to just shape it just a little bit, it's a little bit bigger, just round. This is just because I like to do lots of shaping, and I find I'm using watercolour card, which is quite a heavy card. If it was on paper, then maybe I wouldn't do this, you know, need to cut into them because I could shape them. Have I cut? Oh, I've just cut that one. Never mind. I've got plenty cut. Just, I haven't really got much space in there. I'm just shaping it a little bit. There we go. Don't worry, we're going to paint them and then we're going to shape them, so you're not going to see any little faults. Right, so I'm going to bring my little mat back in, and then I'm going to grab my shimmer paint again. So let's go with Sunbeam. So Sunbeam, the colours show up on your white rather than on your black card. So there we go. Right, so I've got pot of water, just make sure my sparkle brush is clean, and then I'm just going to come in with some pink. Try to remember which way around I did these. So just doing this, and then I'm just going to come directly from the bottom, just like that. I'm going to just get rid of that, and then I'm going to put a little bit of sparkle onto my mat, and then I'm just going to blend that out, just a bit of clear. So I've got a little bit more of an intense colour at the bottom. Being careful not to suck up the water when I clean my brush. What colours did I use next? Oh, for the little one I used this one. It's really pretty. I just used this one. Got some sparkle in there. Oops, gone over. There we go. That hasn't really got much intensity yet. Let me just put a little bit. That's better. The gold's coming out. Don't get too hung up about colouring them too much, because, like I said, we're going to shape them. Let's get a little bit of sparkle out of that on the purple. What colour is that one? Chiffon. And I'm going to do the same on here. A bit more intense around the bottom. You notice I've not done anything in the centres. Let's get that. The more you blend it in, the more pigment you pull out of the little tablets of, there we go, look, the tablets of paint, so you get a more intense colour. There we go. And then I'm just going to pick up a little bit of the sparkle and blend it out. Now, it's, you know, wait till they're dry and you'll get quite a different look to them. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm really not doing complicated colouring. But the other thing I've got is I've got some sparkle pens. Now, I don't know if I can do this yet because this hasn't dried. But just give it a little tap. And then all I do is go in the middle and then I tap round there. Tap into there. It's just going to run a little bit because it's a bit wet. But I'll show you ones that I've done. So if I find one of my large, so you can see on here, I've just put it on there. Oh, I'm trying to find a. And then on here, on this big one, I've just gone round the stamens and then again on the little one. So let me just find the wet ones because I want to put those out of the way. Now, I don't know how many of these I'm actually going to need. So I've done a few spares. And we'll see where we go from there. There we go, right. That's out of the way. Let's bring in that mat again. So we can put these onto here. And I've got a couple of spares on here, look. Of extras, you can see. And I also did some foliage. I did a couple of the double leaves. That was from that other set. And then these ones too. So if we turn them all over, I'll put them so nicely. There we go, you can see. There we go. And I'm just going to get, let's put, where's the lid for my sparkle pen? There. I'm going to grab myself a bottom and I'm just going to shape. Now, I don't want too much shape because it's quite a flat design that I'm doing, but I struggle to use totally flat flowers. I don't like it. I just fiddle and need to change it a little bit. So all I'm doing is just adding a little bit of shape. You can see, just because I cut into them, I'm getting so much more shape out of them than if I didn't. Let's do that one. And with these ones that you see, I just went down the centre just to give me a little bit more definition. And the great thing is, just like with any of the others, once you've done, you can always go in and add a little bit more detail. But look at that, as soon as I look at that, start changing it around a little bit. Have I got a pen up? It just gives that little bit of shape and interest. And this is why I said don't worry too much about all of your painting and your colouring, because you're not actually going to see that much of it. And then just on there. Right, so I've got some flowers. So I need something to put them on. So we've got our topper, we've got our flowers. But the flowers on their own aren't going to be enough. And as I said, I'm going to make this an 18th birthday card. So I found a set of numbers and I cut out some numbers from there. So I cut out the 1 and the 8. And I only cut out those ones just by putting cardstock behind the rest. The rest didn't have cardstock behind. So I've cut them out in white and I've cut them out in gold. Now, I didn't tape it down properly and the end moved and it didn't cut the end of my, or that corner of my 8, but actually it really doesn't matter. So I've already got a few layers together. I think there's about 3 or might be 3 layers there. So can you see it's coming quite robust. So all I'm going to do is, I like my tacky glue for this because it grabs nice and quick. I'm going to go along here with a little bit of my tacky glue. And I'm just going to build it up like that. Now, when I put this on to my card, I lost it. It disappeared. So this is why I've cut the gold one out. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put it onto here. I'll put a little bit of glue on here, not too much. Just like that. And this is why it didn't matter that corner, because if you've ever watched me, I always drop shadow to the left. And all I'm going to do is just do a very fine drop shadow. Can you see how fine that is? And it doesn't matter that that one's gone because that's on the right hand side and I drop shadow to the left. I always drop shadow to the left. So there you go. Even when things go wrong, oops, that top one's moving. That top white one has just moved slightly. Let's move it back. Yeah, in an ideal world, I'd let the white dry and then do the gold. It's all moving. Now I'm going to show you what I would do then in a minute. Right, everything's back in. Right, that white one has moved just slightly. it's going to have to go like that because it's grabbed. Okay, just with a little drop shadow. Let's do the number 1. Now this could be an initial. It could be for a wedding anniversary. So, you know, like we had our 30th recently. I could have done this as a 30th card for my hubby. You've got so many different ways to do it, you know, like age. And like I said, initials look really nice. How personal would this be if I did this as initials? Looking lovely. So just making sure that's grabbed. I'm going to put a little bit on the back again. You notice I'm putting the glue on the white card rather than on the mirror card, just because I don't like to put glue on front of mirror if I can help it. So again, we need to make sure we drop shadow to the left and just the smallest drop shadow. Can you just see down there? So what I would tend to do is put those like that. Then you've seen me do this before. I get my, I'm just bring it down so you can just see it. My stamping block, put that, then I get my big bottle of glue and just put that on top for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to leave that there. Let's just move that a little bit out of shot and we can go back to finishing off the card. So my card started off as a card to fit a 7-inch envelope. I've trimmed it down. So we've got it to 6 3/4 by 5 1/4-ish. Very ish, with a piece of gold mirror. Again, you can take out the center. And then I've got my, now I've got to decide which way I want to do this. Again, I'm going to do white on white. Hopefully you can see that, and that bottle's not getting in the way. I'm just going to move that. Now you've seen what I'm doing. Let me just see if I can move that up a little bit. There we go. All right. So do I want to do white on white and then raise that? Yes, I do. So let's do that. I love, you see, you use all the different glues. I love your all-purpose glue, your synthetic glues. I love this solvent-based glue because it dries quite firm and it adds sort of a rigidity to your projects. So I'm going to pop that on to there. I've gone up by 1/8 of an inch. If you remember, this was 4.5 by 6 inches. So I've just gone up by 1/8 of an inch. It doesn't show up much, but you can just see I've got that tiny border all the way around the edge. Now, if you wanted to, you could pick out a colour like this and then maybe put that as an extra layer in. But I didn't want to. Like I said, I'm keeping it fairly clean and simple. Bear with me. I'm just going to pop a little bit of foam on. So that now can go onto my card base. Plenty of foam to keep it rigid. And as always, a little bit of wet glue on that foam tape so that I've got the wiggle room. What it's like. And that's going to go now. Remember, I wanted the splats coming from the right hand bottom corner going up. So let's just make sure that's even, and then I can press it down. And again, if you wanted to, you could get your stamp block and you could put it on for a minute or two. So I'm just going to leave that for one tick whilst I put some foam pads on the back of there. Okay, so I've got my 18. So it's nice and rigid and it's also raised up. So if we bring the card base back in, there's something sticky on my desk. If we bring the card base back in, so you can see, I'm going to pop that around about there, I think. And let's bring in the flowers that we've made and bring those in here. I'm dropping them off here. Can you see those as well? I think I need a pair of tweezers. And I also need some 3D glue. So I'm trying to decide what's the best way to do this. I'm going to take the backs off these foam pads. Now, I was umming and ahhing whether just to do this with 3D glue, but what I might do is just use a little bit of 3D glue on these to give them a bit of wiggle room. So if I get a little bit, just pull the plug out, tiniest little bit. So I'm not actually adding height, but it'll actually stop it curing for half an hour or so. Right, let's put that one just about there, and then my number one. And actually it would be quite good using a 3D foam, because for some reason I've done the same number of layers, but the number one hasn't come out as bulky, so I feel like it's dipping down a bit. So I'm going to use that for a little bit of height, so that when I put them side by side they look more even with height. There we go. And then I'm just going to add the flowers. So I don't know which ones I'm going to be using, but I sort of want them to come under a bit and over. So again, 3D glue is perfect for this because it gives me time to move things around. I can also add in some leaves, some foliage. I can get that right under there, tucked under. Let's squeeze where do I want that? Let's put that one there. I really don't think I need many flowers. I just want to sort of give it a little bit of a lift. Now, I cut these ones out, but actually I think these ones might be. Can I? Right, I'm just going to lift the one up a minute. Oops. This is why I love 3D glue, because it just gives me all that time to keep moving things around. And as I've said to you before, you know, when you're doing these things, don't think that the first attempt has to be right. You can change these things. You can move them around. You can make that, you know, you can change it until you're happy. Now, I did think I was going to go over the 8, but actually I'm starting to think it looks better. Now, can I squidge this one? Oh, yeah. If I squidge it up, it actually fits quite well. Let's give it a little bit of a squidgeroo into there. So it's almost like the flowers are coming through, aren't they? I don't know. I'm making this up as I go along, as if you hadn't really worked that bit out. But I just think it's quite clean and simple, but it's really pretty at the same time. Do I need any other flowers? Or is that going to be too much? I think that might be too much. No, I think that might be too much. The most I could use. This is the bit I enjoy about making things like this. It's just that, what do I want it? There. Could go there, and I could reposition that. Nothing lost. I'm not going to make a mark with the glue because I can always put my foliage back in. Let's then take this foliage and come more down this way. Oh yeah, so it's almost like a swag now, isn't it? It's almost like a swag going through. Let's just adjust that a little bit. There we go. Like I say, it's a very, very clean and simple looking card. Let's just grab a couple of gems. I know I've put, actually I might go with gold. I know I've put the paint in the middle, but I'm actually going to, oops, stuck to my tweezers. I'm actually going to put a couple of gems in there. you impressed by my total control over these gems? Absolutely not. We never use these small ones sometimes, do we? We always think, oh, what would they be used for? But sometimes it just happens and you think, yep, that would be perfect for a small one. Just a small little gem. There we go. And actually, I was going to go with some water droplet ones, but now I've used those, I'm just going to pop a couple of those. I know I've done the gold splats, but this gives it dimension. Come on. Come on, Corrine, you've got no control over your gems today at all. Absolutely none. They're wild. Now, it doesn't say happy birthday. If you wanted to, you could put happy birthday across it. I'm thinking, I know it's, I've done, no, I need one more. Otherwise, I've got 4, and you have to have 5, don't you? Go there. There we are. How about that? That didn't take long to put together, did it? I know I'd done some of the flowers in advance, but that really was very simple. And like I said, you could change that to initials. It could be an anniversary. You could put whatever you wanted. You could, like I say, put sentiment across there if you wanted it to be happy birthday. Not put that flower there, then just put that, your sentiment. What do you think? I really like that. I think that's really, really pretty. Quite a clean and simple look, but well, in my mind, it really, really works. I'd love to know what you think. Please leave me a comment down at the bottom and let me know what you think. Otherwise, I'm going to leave you there. And that's my card for today. So please let me know what you think. And as I always do, I'm going to leave you a link here for some other videos. I'm going to leave a link here to subscribe. And thank you to everyone that has subscribed. And otherwise, there's just all the links down at the bottom, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.